and welcome to the PT22 podcast. My name is Emma and this is the episode 22. I've already filmed it once, but I didn't have any sound because there was a problem with my microphone, and so I stopped working after a few seconds. And so since it's directly plugged into the camera, I didn't even have the sound from the camera. So I'm starting again. And so I hope that I won't forget anything, because since I've already filmed it once, I already said everything. So I really hope I will be able to remember to say everything that I want to say. It's been a long time since the last episode. It doesn't seem like it, but it took me a month and a half, almost 2 months, I think, to edit the last episode. So I had quite a bit of time in between the last episode and now, and so I had a lot of time to knit, and I have been knitting a lot more than usual, so I have a lot of things to show you today. So let's start, and I will start with the finished objects, and the first one is the one that I am wearing, and so you haven't seen it yet because I started it after filming the last episode. And so this is my sweater. This was a test knit for Sabina from Caidree. And this is the Kaleo sweater. I've knit it with Drops Melody. In the colorway 8 petrol. And this is, let's see, I don't have, 71% alpaca, 25% wool and 4% polyamide. And so this was a yarn that I had in my stash for many years, and I actually had already started a jumper with it, and it was made in pieces. So I had made the front, the back, and one of the sleeve of the 2 sleeves, or maybe I was knitting the second one, I can't remember, but I was never gonna wear it. And so when I saw this test knit, I thought that this was perfect. I could use this yarn and use it to make something that I would actually wear. So I made the size XS, which is the smallest size. It does have quite a bit of ease, as you can see. But since it's really lightweight, it's very comfortable to wear. I used 4 balls, a bit more than 4 balls of this yarn, so a bit more than 200 grams for a whole sweater. So it's, really lightweight. Since I already had a 5th ball, I did use some of it, but I only had 10 rounds left of the body when I started the 5th ball. So if I wanted, and it's quite long, so if I wanted to, I could have only used 4 balls, but since I had the 5th one, I thought that I might as well use it to finish it. So this is a top-down sweater. We start with the collar. It rolls a little bit because we start with a few rounds of stockinette stitch, and then we do the ribbing, and then it has some saddle shoulders. I don't know if you can see here. And then we do the increases here around for the arms. And I made 2 modifications. So the first one is not much, but I shortened a little bit the ribbing at the neck because I didn't want it to be too high because I don't like it. And so I shortened the ribbing for the sleeves and for the body to match the one from the collar. And the second thing that I changed was that I tapered the sleeves because they were supposed, for my size, to be straight until the end. And I didn't quite like that because it would bother me to have too much fabric here around the wrist, and I wanted to be able to wear it underneath my coat and just to be comfortable doing things. And that's it. Of course, I asked Sabina if I could make the modifications before I made them because it was a test knit. what else? I think that's it. It's, what did I want to say? Yeah, it's quite long. I think it grew just a little bit, but I like it. I tuck it into my pants and I've been wearing it non-stop since I finished it because it's just so comfortable and really warm. I think the gauge is 15 stitches, so it's quite big, but it's not so dense. And so with this kind of yarn, a bit airy, it is quite, it's not stiff at all. It's very airy, very lightweight, so very, very comfortable to wear. I did make the sleeves a little bit longer and I thought that it would be just a tiny bit too long, but quite comfortable. And now that I wore it quite a lot, they started to be a bit smaller, so perfect length for me. But if I want, I can still have them like this, but really comfortable. So that's it for this jumper. And since I have, this was knit from my stash, and that it felt really good to be knitting from my really old stash. I wanted to use straight away the 5th bow that I just started, and so I think I just have enough to make a neck for my toddler because it's quite cold, and so instead of having just like, because he's already wearing one small jumper, one bigger one, his coat, I wanted to have something like just around his shoulder, his neck, so he would be warm but not having too much layers either. So I'm gonna knit a neck for him with this ball of yarn. So we'll be kind of matchy together. I do have my notes here, so I'm just gonna have a look sometimes just to ensure that I didn't forget anything. The second finished object that I have, I've already started it last time that I talked to you, and those are the slippers that I made for my toddler. So this is the pattern, the double tøfler from Sundays Gone, which is like double layered slippers. So you start here and you knit the first part, and then you separate to make the two parts of the foot. So one will be inside and the other one is outside. And I've made a video, I talk about this pattern almost in every episode, I feel like, because I made a few of them for myself, for my toddler, for my dad, and yeah, anyway, it's a very good pattern. And so I made a video about making them when I made my first pair. I think I can put it on the screen. And so anyway, this is the pair that I made for my son for home, and he wore them a lot, so that's why they're a bit dirty. But I made the size 29-30. That's the European size, and it's too long for him, but I didn't make it the same length as recommended in the pattern. I just took the numbers to have the right width, so it would be wider, but I didn't knit the same number of rounds that was in the pattern. I just knit a little bit shorter so it would fit him in the length but have enough room for his feet. And that's it. And I already knitted him a pair for school in last summer, and so now they're a little bit too small, especially here around the ankle, and he can't put them by himself, so he has to ask for some help to put them at school. And so I wanted to make him another pair for school. And so when I asked him which color, he said pink, of course, because if you've been here for a while, maybe you still have to know that my toddler loves pink. So I ordered some, what I thought would be some pink yarn, which is not. It's purple. It's kind of like lilac. I don't really like it, but I don't like purple. This is the colorway 40. I think it's gonna be okay. I think for him it's just some slippers. I think I'm gonna make them plain just to make them faster. I don't think I'm gonna do some stripes like those ones. It was a bit long to do, and especially to weave in the ends. And so I think I'm gonna make them just with this one. I got 3 balls of this one. So that's gonna be one of my next projects too, with his neck. And the last finished object that I have for today is a new one that you haven't seen in the last episode because I started it afterwards. And it's a jumper for my son. So this is the coloring Bouclé from Aimee Sher, and it was a test knit for her. And I think that she said the pattern would be ready for next September, so in quite a while. And this is the mini version, so I guess that she had an adult version of this one. So about the yarn, I really like this one. This is a fingering weight jumper. I think it's called T because we had the option to make it long sleeves or short sleeves, with short sleeves too, and some of the testers did, and some of them used some like summer, spring yarn, and I think that the one that she used in her sample was one from the Retrosaria with either some silk or some cotton in it. I can't remember. But anyway, for me, I wanted to make a jumper that would be a really good layering piece. So I made a cardigan for my toddler that was really thick, with thick wool. And my mom knitted him in December a jumper that was really thick too. And so it was really warm, but it was something that to put on top of other garments. And so I wanted one that was thinner so he could have layering pieces, but wool and wool. And so this one he can put it on top of his t-shirt and then put the cardigan or the other jumper on top of this one. Anyway, it was just to be warmer. And so I knitted with yarn from my stash too that I've had for many years too, I think maybe 5 or 6 years, when I was at a yarn festival. And this is Bouclelaine, and the base is Ouessant 50. And I don't have the tag, but I did put the detail in my Ravelry project. Actually, all the details, everything, like the yarn that I used, the patterns, the modifications that I made, everything is written in my Ravelry projects, and all of them are linked down below. So if you need any information, you can look at that. And if something is missing, just ask me. But yeah, so when I bought it, I wasn't knitting that much. I didn't really know what to do with the yarn. I didn't have any pattern in mind, so it was fingering weight yarn. Didn't know kind of how much I needed. There was this color, which is kind of red, a little bit pinkish. The name of this one is Bouclé EP22, and this one is just white and dyed. And there was a third one that I really liked. It was close to this color, but more rusty. And I was really hesitating. I don't know if it was this one or the last one, the other one, the rusty one, that they only had one skein left. So after thinking a lot and not knowing what I was going to do with it, I bought one skein of each color. So 3 skeins, but I don't like color block. So I don't really know what I was thinking, so I never did anything with the skeins. But they were kind of special for me. And so I wanted to do something a bit special with them. And so when I saw this test knit, I was like, oh, this is perfect. I will be able to use those 2 colors. And So I decided to go with this one for the main color and the white one for the contrasting color, but I knew I wouldn't have enough of the main color. So I modified the length of the stripes for the sleeves to use to get bigger and bigger, and that's why I inverted the length of the stripes progressively on the sleeves to have bigger white stripes, and in order to have enough of the main color. The modifications that I made, so it's a top-down raglan. I think she calls it a compound raglan, and Aimee, the designer, uses it a lot in her patterns, and I think the fit is so much better than regular raglan. So it goes faster, it's like an S shape. It goes faster at the beginning, and then like it goes like this. So faster at the beginning, a bit less, and then again. So it fits better, and it's just perfect on the body, and it seems really comfortable. And so it's a top-down sweater, and we pick up the stitches for the collar at the end. The modification that I made was that I made the body 4.5 centimeters longer because I wanted my collar to be able to grow into it and not for it to be too short too quickly. And other than that, no other modification. I did some regular bind off for the sleeves, but did some Italian bind off for the collar and for the body because I wanted it to be stretchy enough, especially for the head. The size range is quite big. It goes from newborn, I think, or 1 to 3 months old, to 14 years old, I think. So you can make quite a lot of jumpers and tees with this pattern, so it's quite nice. And I definitely will make another one for my Toddler, and the yarn is so lovely. It was just a little bit stiff when I was knitting with it, and after blocking, it's so nice and it seems so comfortable. And it's such a good layering piece. And I think it's really warm, so a really nice knit for this one. I'm really happy about this one. Okay, so that's it for this jumper. And my son wears it almost every day, so I think it's so nice. And with it being 100%, I didn't say that, but it's 100% non-superwash wool, so perfect for a toddler. And it's not itchy at all, so really good for him. And so that's it for the finished objects. Now for the works in progress, maybe I can start with one that you've already seen. So it's a pair of socks. I won't go too much into detail with those ones because you've already seen them, but those are just plain vanilla socks that I'm making for myself. And so I knitted both, not really at the same time, but like kind of each step I was making one for the first one, then the second one. So I made the cuff for one, then the cuff for the second one, then the leg, etc. So cuff down, I knit them with Mondim yarn, which is 100% non-superwash, nylon-free soft yarn. I love it. I already have 2 pairs with this yarn, and I love wearing them. So this is the contrasting color, the brown one, and this is the main color that I used. I think this one is 409 if I'm not mistaken, but maybe I am. I don't have the tags with me, but all of the details are in my Ravelry project. So the contrasting color, I used it for the top of the cuff. I did some half twisted rib, and I used its color for the heel, and I will use it for the toes. I did quite a long leg because I wanted to have really warm socks. I did a heel flap and gusset, maybe a little bit too long, so it's a little bit too big around my ankle, but then I have a very big difference between my calves, which are really big, ankles that are really small, and then my feet, which are quite large. So I think the way it's gonna be a bit too large around my ankle, I may have to do some tests to be able to have a smaller circumference around the ankle, but at the moment it's okay. And I'm doing some anatomical toes, which means, so I've finished the two feet, like here, and so I'm starting for the first one, the toes. So doing anatomical toes, that means that I'm, for me, because that's the way I like it, but I don't do any decrease on the big toe side. It goes straight, because that's the shape of the foot. And then I do some decreasing to follow my other toes. And I think for just the last 2 rows, I do some decreasing on the big toe size. On the side, sorry. It's very easy to make. You just have to calculate how many centimeters of decreases from the end of your pinky toe to the big toe, how many centimeters of difference you have, and compare it to the gauge that you have in rows, and you know how many decreases you have to make in how many centimeters. And I think it fits perfectly. It's so much nicer to wear than classic toes. So I'm doing that on all my socks now, and I started to do that with my partner's socks too, and he really likes them. So yeah. So that's it for those socks. My second work in progress that I have is this one. So this is a Cumulus blouse that I'm making for my sister. It's a surprise, but she watches my podcast but a few months later after I published them, so I think it's still gonna be a surprise even if I show it today. So here it is. It's still the beginning. I haven't joined in the round, haven't finished the increase. I'm doing the increases for the raglan part and for the v-neck. So this is a pattern from Petiteknit, and I've knit one for myself in the same yarn in rust color, and so I'm doing one with this color. And the yarn, do I have a tag here? Usually I keep it inside here. I don't. So this, I'm just going to look at my notes. This is in brushed alpaca silk, but I do have it here. So this is the color 25. And I don't know the name of the color, but yeah. I put it on a longer cord so you can see it correctly, but it's a little bit hard to show because I haven't joined it around, but just classic raglan blouse. And here it is. And I really like the color. I'm knitting a size M for her, and I hope it's gonna be perfect, and I hope she's gonna like it. Very easy pattern, very easy to follow, just easy to make. This third one, the third work in progress that I have is another stash busting project. I love that. This is an episode where I have a lot of projects that I made from very old stash, and it feels so good to be able to knit with that stash. So, if you've been here for a while, you might have already seen this yarn. So I talked about it a few months ago. So I had some alpaca bouclé in my stash. Here is so in white, I think it's 100%. I have a tag here. So 100%, 100 the colorway alpaca bouclé. So it's 80% alpaca, 15% wool, and 5% polyamide. And I bought it 5, 6, 7 years ago, a long time ago. And I started a jumper with it. But then I realized that it was way too big. I didn't really know what to do with it. It was the smallest size, so I couldn't go down a size. I was starting to learn how to knit, so I didn't really know how to modify it. Anyway, so I didn't really do anything. I left it aside and didn't knit it for a long time. Then when I picked it up, I realized that the pattern that I'd chosen wasn't really a good one. It would have been a little bit floppy, not the right one. So I decided that I wanted to make a cardigan with it, but I didn't have any pattern in mind. I just knew I wanted to make a cardigan. I didn't know which kind, and so I made a swatch with some silk mohair. This one. Which is the colorway Moonshine, and I think it's this one, the colorway 44, and it's in different drops. And so I already made a swatch. I thought it was perfect, and then Sabina from Caidree made a test call, and so it was just perfect. She made it in a bouclé yarn, and the gauge was the same, so I thought, okay, let's go for it. It's a cardigan, everything's ready, I have the yarn. So I applied, and so I started knitting this cardigan. So it's a basic cardigan with raglan. Here it is. And for me, the white was a little bit too white, and I think maybe at the back you can see a little bit better that there's the gray silk mohair. It's not very gray, but like you can't really see it, but you still see it. I don't know if that makes sense, but maybe you can see it like this. And I really like the fabric that it makes, and it's so squishy. So I can't wait to wear it. So at the moment it's a top down, so I have been knitting the raglan separated for the sleeves. I'm knitting the body back and forth, then we'll do the ribbing, and then either I will do the sleeves or pick up for the collar and button band. Maybe I will do that first, so I know how it sits on my body, and I can do the sleeves with the right length. So yeah, and so the gauge is 13 stitches, so it goes quite fast, and it's quite thick, and I think it's going to be really comfortable. So here it is, and the good thing is I think I will have exactly enough of the yarn because I already had it to make a jumper, and so I had the right amount of yarn for this one. So no stash left of this one. So really good stash busting project. This is so perfect. And I think we are already with the last work in progress. Yes, I think so. I'm looking at everything that I have here. And the last one that I have is a balaclava for my toddler. Because he has two beanies that I made him and that he wears all the time. But whenever he's on his walking bike or on our bikes, he can't wear his beanies because he has his helmet, and since it has a folded brim, it's too thick to wear a helmet on top of it. and so I thought that I would knit him a balaclava. I asked him if he wanted me to knit him one. He asked what it was. I showed him some pictures, and he was really excited, and he said yes. Yes, in pink, please. So I was like, okay, I'm gonna look for a pink yarn that I still like. And so I found some yarns that I thought would go really well together. So those are the colors. I really like both of them actually. I'm not such a pink person, but I love this one. This is like a sorbet color. And so this one is here. I'm gonna talk about the pattern after. So this one here is Lima from Drops in the colorway 9021. And this one is the colorway, it's the Kid Silk in the colorway 32. So Lima is a blend of, let's see. Do I have it in here? Can't seem to find it. I think it's a blend of 65% wool and 35% alpaca. Non-superwash. I always knit non-superwash for my toddler to keep him warm. And so I think they go really well together, those two yarns. It's kind of pink, but not too much. And so it's the November Balaclava Mini from Petiteknit. And so it's top down, so we start with knitting it. It's in fisherman's rib. And so we start here knitting this kind of rectangle here at the beginning. So that's the top of the head. And then we pick up some stitches around, knit here and pick up the other stitches here on the other side, and then knit back and forth, still in fisherman's rib, and to do the whole head. And then I think we will cast on stitches underneath here in the chin to make the ribbing for the neck. And then we will pick up some stitches around the face for the ribbing. So here it is. It went a little bit dark, so I hope that you can still see it. The sun went behind some clouds, so yeah. Anyway, so I think that maybe for the ribbing around the face, I won't use the mohair because it's really annoying when you have some mohair in your mouth. For toddler or for adults, for whoever. So I'm not sure I'm gonna do that, but I still want to see if it looks nice and if it's thick enough, but I think I will do that. And that's it. It's a very thick fabric with the fisherman's rib. So I think it's gonna be really warm, comfy. It's gonna be really nice in here. And it's such a quick knit. I wasn't realizing that it would go so fast because, I don't know, with fisherman's rib I thought that it would take a bit of time, quite long. So I'm quite happy with that because my toddler really needs it. So it's not something that I can't just take my time with it. I do want to finish it quite soon. So yeah. I really hope he's gonna wear it because he likes wearing beanies, but something around his face and down his neck, I don't know. We'll see. But I'm quite happy with the choice of yarn and colors. And I think that's it. I think I've talked about everything. I feel like I've rushed into this episode. But I guess that I talked about everything that I wanted to talk to you about. So. Oh, and I'm drinking from my latest mug that I made in ceramics. I actually made it for my toddler because, well, he likes to wear pink and leopard prints. So I made him this mug. He doesn't really drink so much from it, but I do like it, and I'm quite proud of this one that I made. And that's it for today. So I hope that you enjoyed it and that you were enjoying some making that you were doing at the same time, or watching, maybe some knitting, crocheting, or something else. And I will see you next time. Bye!